Percy, the Small Engines, the Railway Series, number 11. Percy and the Signal. Percy is a little green tank engine who works in the yard at the big station. He is a funny little engine and loves playing jokes. These jokes sometimes get him into trouble. Peep, peep, he whistled. One morning, hurry up, Gordon. The train's ready. Gordon thought he was late and came puffing out. Ha ha, laughed Percy, and showed him a train of dirty coal trucks. Gordon didn't go back to the shed. He stayed on a siding thinking how to pay Percy out. Stay in the shed today, squeaked Percy to James. The Fat Controller will come and see you. James was a conceited engine. He thought, the Fat Controller knows I'm a fine engine, ready for anything. He wants me to pull a special train. So James stayed where he was and nothing his driver and fireman would make him move, but the Fat Controller never came, and the other engines grumbled dreadfully. They had to do James' work as well as their own. At last, an inspector came. Show a wheel, James, he said crossly. You can't stay here all day. The Fat Controller told me to stay here, answered James sulkily. He sent a message this morning. He did not, retorted the inspector. How could he? He's away for a week. Oh, said James. Oh! And then he came quickly out of the shed. Where's Percy? Percy had wisely disappeared. When the Fat Controller came back, he did see James and Percy too. Both engines wish he hadn't. James and Gordon wanted to pay Percy out, but Percy kept out of their way. One morning, however, he was so excited that he forgot to be careful. I say, your engines, he bubbled. I'm in to take trucks to Thomas Junction. The Fat Controller chose me specifically. He must know I'm a really useful special engine. More likely he wants you out of the way, grunted James. But Gordon gave James a wink like this. Oh, yes, said James. Just so you were saying, Gordon. James and I were just speaking about signals at the junction. We can't be too careful about signals, but then I needed that to say the really useful engines like you, Percy. Percy felt flattered. Of course not, he said. We had spoken of backer signals put in, James. They need extra special care, you know. Would you like me to explain? No, thank you, James, said Percy. Early. I know all about signals, and he bustled off importantly. James and Gordon solemnly exchanged winks. Percy was a little worried. He as he sat out. I wonder what backing signals are, he thought. Never mind. I'll manage. I know all about signals. He puffed crossly to his trucks and felt better. He saw a signal just outside the station. Bother, he said. It's a danger. Oh, screamed the trucks as they bumped into each other. Presently, the signals moved to show line clear. Its arms moved up instead of down. Percy had never seen any sort of signals before. He was surprised. Down means go, he thought, and up means stop, so upper still must mean go. Back. I know it's one of those backing signals. How clever of me to find that out. Come on, Percy, said his driver. Off we go. But Percy wouldn't go forward, and his driver had to let him back in order to start at all. I am clever, thought Percy. Even my driver doesn't know about backing signals, and he started so suddenly that the truck screamed again. Wow, Percy called his driver. Stop, you're going the wrong way. But it's a backing signal, Percy protested, and told him about Gordon and James. The driver laughed and explained about signals that point up. Oh dear, said Percy. But let's start quickly before they come and see us. But it was too late. Gordon swept by with the express and saw everything. The big engines talked about signals that night. They thought the subject was funny. They laughed a lot. Percy thought they were being very silly. Duck takes charge. Do you know what? Asked Percy. What? Grunted Gordon. Do you know what? Silly, said Gordon crossly. Of course. Don't know what if you don't tell me what is. The Fat Controller says that the work in the yard is too heavy for me. He's getting a bigger engine to help me. Rubbish, put in James. Any engine could do it. He went on grandly. If you worked more and chatted less, this yard would be a sweeter and better, happier place. Percy went off to fetch some coaches. That stupid old signal, he thought. No one listens to me now. They think I'm a silly little engine and ordering me about. I'll show them, he puffed as he ran about the yard. But he didn't know how things went wrong. The coaches and tracks behaved badly, and by the end of the afternoon, he felt tired and unhappy. He brought some coaches to the station and stood panting at the end of the platform. Hello, Percy, said the Fat Controller. You look tired. Yes, sir, I am, sir. I don't know if I'm standing on my dome on my wheels. You look the right way up to me, laughed the Fat Controller. Cheer up, the new engine is bigger than you. You can probably do the work alone. I would like you to build my new harbour at Thomas Junction. Thomas and Toby will help burning the engine there all the time. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir, said Percy happily. The new engine arrived next morning. What is your name? Asked the Fat Controller kindly. Montague, sir, but I'm usually called Duck. They said I waddle. I don't really, sir, but I like Duck better than Montague could, said the Fat Controller. Duck it shall be. Here, Percy, come and show Duck around. The two engines went off together at first, and the trucks played tricks, but soon found they're playing tricks on Duck. But it was mistakenly coaches behaved well, thought James Gordon Henry did not. The watch Duck quietly doing his work. He seems a little sort of engine, they whispered. We'll have some fun. Whack! Whack! They wheaked. As they passed him, Percy was cross, but Duck took so... Quack, quack, quack! Percy was cross, but Duck took notice. They get tired of it soon, he said. Presently, the three engines began to order Duck about. Duck, stop. Do they tell you to do these things, Percy asked. Yes, they do, answered Percy slowly. Right, said Duck. We'll soon stop that. Nonsense, he whispered something. We'll do it tonight. The Fat Controller had a good day. There has been no grumbling passengers. All the trains had no run till time. The Duck worked well at the yard. The Fat Controller was looking forward to hot buttered toast for tea at home. He had just left the office when he heard an extraordinary noise. Bother, he said. Hurry to the yard. Henry Gordon James were wishing and snorting for his love Duck, and Percy calmly sat on points outside the shed, refusing to let the engines in. Stop that noise, he bellowed. Now, Gordon, they won't let us in, hissed the big engine crossly. That explained his behaviour. Beg pardon, sir, but I'm a Western engine. We're Great Western engines do our work without fuss, but we are not ordered about by other engines. You, sir, are controller. We will, of course, move if you order us, but Begging your pardon, Sir Percy, I would be glad if you would inform these engines if they would take orders from you. The three big engines hissed angrily. Silence! Snapped the controller. Percy and Duck, I am pleased with your behaviour today, but not with your behaviour tonight. You have caused a disturbance. Gordon, Henry, James sniggered, and they stopped suddenly when the fat controller turned on them. As for you, he thundered, you've been worse. You made the disturbance. Duck is quite right. This is my railway, and I'll give the orders. When Percy went away, Duck was left to manage alone. He did so easily. Percy and the Herald. Percy worked hard at the harbour. Toby helped, but sometimes the load of stone were too heavy, and Percy had to fetch them for himself. Then he would push the trucks along the quarry to where the workmen needed the stone for their building. An airfield was close by, and Percy heard the airplanes zooming overhead all day. The noisiest of all was a helicopter, which hovered, buzzing like an angry bee. Stupid thing, said Percy. Why can't it buzz somewhere else? One day, Percy, near the airfield helicopter, was standing quite close. Hello, said Percy. Who are you? I'm Harold. Who are you? I'm Percy. Wait, what wonderfully great arms you got. They're nice arms, said Harold, offended. I can hover like a bird. Don't you wish you could hover? Certainly not. I like my rail, thank you. I think railways are slow, said Harold in the bored voice. They're not too much, and yours are quite out of date. He whirled his arm and buzzed away. Percy found Toby at the top station, arranging trucks. I say, Toby, he burst out. That Harold, that stuck up and whirlbird thing says I'm slow and out of date. Just let him wait, I'll show him. He collected his trucks and started off. He's still fuming. Soon, above the clatter of the trucks, they heard a familiar buzzing. Percy whispered to his driver, there's Harold. He's not far ahead. Let's race him. Yes, let's, said Percy, excitingly and quickly, gathering speed. He shot off down the line. The guard-wife had given him a flask for tea for elevances he just poured out of the cup when the van lured and spit it down his uniform. He wiped up the mess with his handkerchief and or tissue and staggered to the front platform. Percy was pounding along the truck, screamed and swirled while the van rolled and pitched like a ship at sea. Well, I'll be ding-dong dashed, Dan, said the guard, and then he saw Harold buzzing along and understood. Go, it, Percy, he yelled. You're gaming. Percy had never been allowed to run fast before. He was having the time of his life. Hurry, he pointed at the trucks. We don't want to, they grumbled, but it was no use. Percy was buckling along with flying whales, and Harold was hanging alongside. The fireman shovelled for dear life, while the driver was so excited he could hardly keep still. Well done, Percy shouted. We're gaining ahead. Oh boy, goodbye. Far ahead, a distant signal warned them that the wharf was near. Shut off steam whistle. Peep, peep, peep. Brakes. Guard, please, using Percy's brakes too. The driver carefully checked the train's headlong speed. The roll under the main line held smoothly on the wharf. Oh dear, groaned Percy. I'm sure we're lost. The fireman scrambled to the cab roof. We won, he shouted. Nearly fell off his excitement. Harold, still hovering, was looking for a place to land. Listen, boys, the fireman called. Here's a song for Percy, said Harold Helicopter to our Percy. You are slow. Your railways is out of date. Not much, you know. But Percy with his stone trucks did the trip in good record time, and we beat the helicopter on our old branch line. The driving guy caught some tunes, so said they weren't well recorded. Percy loved it. Oh, thank you, he said. You loved the last line, or best of all, Percy's Promise. A mob of excited children poured out of Annie and Clarabelle on one morning and raced down to the beach. There's the Vicar's Sunday Schools, explained Thomas. I'm busy this evening, but the station master says I can ask you to take them home. Of course I will, promised Percy. The children had a lovely day, but at tea time it got very hot. Dark clouds loomed overhead. Then came lightning, thunder and rain. The children only just managed to reach shelter before the deluge began. Annie and Clarabelle stood at the platform. The children scrambled in. Can we go home, please, station master? Asked the vicar. The station master called Percy. Take the children home quickly, please, he ordered. The train screamed down on Percy's boiler. Oh, he shivered and thought of his nice dry shed. Then he remembered. A promise is a promise, he told himself. So here goes. The driver was anxious. The river was rising. First, it foamed and swirled, visibly threatening our flood the country in a minute. The rain beat in Percy's face. I wish I could see. I wish I could see, he complained. They left a cutting and found themselves in water. Oh, my wells, shivered Percy. It's cold. But he struggled on. Whoosh, he hissed. So slushing, my fire. He stopped and backed the coaches to the cutting and waited while the girl found a telephone. He returned looking gloomy. We couldn't go back if we wanted, he said. The bridge near the junction is down. The fireman went to the guard's van, carrying hatchet. Hello, said the guard. You look fierce. I want some dry wood for Percy's fire, please. They broke up some boxes, but they did not satisfy the fireman. I'll have some of your floorboards, he said. What? My nice floor, he grumbled. The guard, I only swept it this morning. But he found hatched and helped. Soon they had plenty of wood in Percy's bunker. His fire burnt well now. He felt warm and comfortable again. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Oh dear, thought Percy sadly. How's come to look at me? Bump! Something thundered on Percy's boiler. Ow! He exclaimed in a muffled voice. That's really too bad. He needed to throw things. He drove up unwounded a parachute from Percy's indignant front. Harold isn't throwing things at you, he laughed. He's dropping hot drinks for us. They all had a drink of cocoa and felt better. Percy had steamed up now. Peep, peep, think you howdy whistle. Come on, let's go. The water lapped his walls. Ah! He shivered. He crept up and up. It reached his ash pan. Then it sloshed at his fire. Ooh! Percy was losing steam, but he plodded on bravely. I promised, he panted. I promised. He peeled his fire with wood and kept his steaming. I must do it, he gasped. I must. He made a last great effort and stood, exhausted by trumpant on rails which were clear of the flood. He rested to get steam back, then brought the trains home. 3 cheers for Percy, called the vicar, and the children nearly raised the roof. The fat controller arrived in Harold. First he thanked the men. Harold told me You were wizard. Percy, he says he can beat you at some things, Percy snorted. But not at being submarine, he chuckled. I don't know what you've both been playing at, and I won't ask, but I know you're a really useful engine. Oh, sir, whispered Percy happily.